Welcome to Texas Platinum, the last of the real water cooler talk shows on YouTube. I'm Trevor, joined by both Matts tonight. And boys, it's been a minute. I feel like we say that every episode, but it's the off season now. We got some excuse, but yeah, Texas and the Big 12 dropped their schedules for the 2023 season. It's looking very favorable for Texas, and obviously we have a lot to talk about in regards to that. So we're going to be addressing that as well as just other generic depth chart thoughts looking ahead for the 2023 season. Kind of think of it as, an off-season video where we're just discussing things and looking ahead. So with all that said, before we get into it, please like, comment, subscribe per usual, especially if you're new here. Trying to grow the channel wherever and whenever we can. So if you're watching and you're new here, getting excited with this new schedule drop and looking for a place to watch some different videos, this may be the place. So recommend that you hit that subscribe button, interact with us in the comments. It'll help out the algorithm. Guys, we're surviving a winter storm, maybe myself more so than y'all since I'm up in Dallas now. How is everyone doing?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm good. Life is going well. I was looking forward to finally being on Texas Platinum, and when I saw that new schedule drop, I was like, "This is going to be a good episode." So I'm doing well. Happy to be back with the boys on Texas Platinum.
Yes, sir. I feel like once a year now we're gonna have winter storms, which means there's more days off. So like I'm down for it. It's kind of crazy how it's like a reoccurring thing now, but can't complain too much. Doing great. Yeah, this schedule is something else. It's we only get to experience this for 1 year, but I don't know. This is probably the weirdest schedule I've ever seen for a lot of teams too.
For sure, for sure. Well, let's hop into it then, and I'll throw it up on screen now, but we'll read through it all anyway and then kind of give some overall thoughts before going into game by game. So Texas opens the season with Rice, then goes on the road to Bama and Tuscaloosa, go back home for a game against Wyoming. So Isaiah Nayor's former team, it'd be cool to see him play against Wyoming. Then we go on the road to Baylor and back home against Kansas. And then we head to the Red River game against Oklahoma. And then there's a bye, which we're going to get into that bye, but this has been something that I know Myers at least has been calling for like every season for the past, ever since we've done this show, is to have a bye after OU. We never did that, and it looks like we're finally, as we leave the conference, we're finally waking up and making smart moves here for both Texas and Oklahoma. After the bye, though, we go on the road to Houston, play an old Southwest Conference foe. That'll be fun. Then we play at home against BYU, which we hate that team, so we'll get into that. Kansas State back at home, and then back-to-back road games against TCU and Iowa State. That'll provide some interesting challenges, being that the road games most notably. And then we end the season at home against Texas Tech the day after Thanksgiving. So that is the 2023 schedule, with missing a few notable opponents, may I add, before we hop into thoughts. No Oklahoma State, so this will be the first time not playing Oklahoma State in probably since the Southwest Conference days. No West Virginia, which is nice. We don't have to deal with Morgantown. No Cincinnati, which is also really good because they're a pretty good team, and playing on the road in Cincinnati, I feel like would be potentially pretty difficult. And then no UCF, which is whatever. So,
Yeah.
guys, opening thoughts. What are we thinking with this schedule? What are we thinking in general? Myers, how about you lead it off?
Yeah, at first glance, I was expecting Texas to be duped by the Big 12. I mean, it just seemed like last year the Big 12 was out to get us. I mean, and why would they want to support Texas or OU for leaving the conference? So I get that. But I was expecting us to have Kansas wiped from the schedule and have just pretty much the most difficult matchups possible for Texas. And it's kind of the opposite. I mean, the fact that we get Kansas at home is very nice. The fact that our two additions, like the two additions to the conference, Houston and BYU, the ones that we're playing, I feel like that's the best possible draw because we get
Yeah.
BYU at home, and I was having nightmares of being shipped off to Provo in November and playing there, but we get them at home, which is a whole different situation than playing there. So that's really favorable. And then at Houston, which, I mean, that's going to be their Super Bowl. We're going to be playing in their little high school stadium, which just blows my mind. But
Will we? Not NRG?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if they go NRG, it's going to be like a home game for Texas. So they'll probably try
Right.
to, but they'll make more money in NRG. So I don't know. That's a dilemma for the Houston Cougars, Stanzel. But either way, we're playing in Houston against U of H, which will be honestly like I like that because I think Dana Holgerson's not that special of a coach. I think we'll take care of business. And plus, it'll be fun to go play a Texas team, but it could be that situation like Texas Tech where it's just so toxic on the road that it could get dicey. So that's one to watch. But overall, I'd rather be playing at Houston than at UCF or at Cincinnati or at BYU. So I really like the draw. And the fact that we don't have to play Mike Gundy is so nice because that guy's always a heart attack to play against, even when they're not very good. Like this year, they found a way to beat us. So I'm really happy with the draw. I think 12-0 is on the table. I think it should be expected, and I think we'll be very good this year, and I'm looking forward to it. Matt, what do you think?
I love that we play Houston. Just first off, just because number one, obviously it's a home game. But number two, that team not only had locker room problems last year, lost their two best players this year. So like right that coming off of a bye like that, it's already something I really like. Um we were talking beforehand. I just think the aesthetics of having Wyoming and DKR is gonna be kind of cool. Um just like brand wise and uniform wise, I think that'll be pretty cool. Um, I like the lead up to OU, man. There's there's a good strong possibility that we're either 4-1 or 5-0 by the time we get there, and I'm not joking about that. That'll be a nice setup, especially having Kansas right before. Um, I don't know. I feel like we finally have like through no fault of our through no effort of our own like it's set up pretty nicely around OU. Get Kansas by U of H. That's really nice. The schedule helps us out there a lot. Yeah, glad it's not in Utah. That would be scary. Like oh my god, it'd be nightmares. You already know the lead up to that game is just gonna be, um,
Replays.
yeah, just a
Taysom
thousand
Hill
replays.
highlights.
Yeah, I almost forgot the guy's name right there, but that's how much I don't want to think about him. Um, that'll be exciting to see.
And
Man,
a Sark playing his old team.
oh, that's true. The little revenge game. I don't know. Wouldn't he be? He has ill feelings
Plays
towards
old.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be
But
the main
other than that,
storyline.
I do like the idea of an undefeated season for the first time. Like actually saying it with the chest, but I can't get there just yet. Um, Expectations for me are at least a Big 12 appearance. Yeah, not I don't necessarily have to win it for me to be happy, but we need to be there for sure. But yeah, I really like the draw of this one. We've had worse schedules before, like just timing wise, and I think this one really favors us. Um, Also having Tech at home as your last game is kind of nice. Just I wouldn't want to be in Lubbock for that. But yeah.
Yeah, my thoughts are similar. Non-con schedule looks pretty good. At Alabama, it's definitely going to be a challenge. We'd be lying if it wasn't, and maybe this time around it may even be an evening game, which will be fun, but also present its own set of challenges. And I know we say this pretty much every year, like Bama's got to reload, Bama's got to reload. But I
Yeah.
mean, without Bryce Young and Jalen
No.
Milroe looked kind of shaky, last year when he did
Yeah.
play. I don't know,
Well, I mean, when you
and
say reload, it's like, yeah, they've always had to reload, but they've always been successful with it. It's just a matter of time before the reload doesn't work,
yeah, and
at least this year.
without their running back, I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
blanking on his name.
Jameer
Gibbs.
Gibbs.
Gibbs, yeah. because that guy was lethal.
Their backup was kind of nice last year, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, or Will Anderson. So
That's true.
yeah, they'll be missing some people. So and I mean, we made it close last season, and that was with our quarterback going down and facing a few adverse things. Improved offensive line, I think, will help us with running game and passing game. So I don't know. I think that's a winnable game. So non-con, the and we'll get into specifics as we go into the Bama game. I don't want to go too much into it at the jump street, but after those, Baylor and Kansas before Oklahoma, those are obviously winnable games that I think will, kind of be a nice takeoff point. Going into Oklahoma, I think Kansas before Oklahoma is good for us to help us better prepare against a good quarterback. Jalen Daniels is no slouch, and that'll actually challenge us and have our game ready. And come time we finally play Dylan Gabriel in Oklahoma. And then to end the year, at Houston, we kind of gave those initial thoughts. BYU, we'll go into that a little bit more. And then those last 4 games, I think, are probably our most difficult stretch.
Yeah, it's a tough
of
slate to end the
games.
season.
So we'll go into that more as we go game by game. But I will say that to end the year, it does get a little more challenging. But hopefully by that point, our team has enough momentum to really kind of carry us through it. And I feel like they will. So those are initial thoughts. Let's go game by game. Rice. Let's not waste our time on Rice. We'll just skip ahead. But that open the season. Let's talk about Bama. Madrid, you want to lead or?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just want to reiterate what we said in the beginning right there. They will have to reload. Also, that receiving core is gonna need to see a step up from last year for sure. They have a few young guys there, but that wasn't really their strength last year. A lot of it was Bryce Young doing his thing, and also Jahmyr Gibbs being such a good back by himself. What we know about Joe Milton is barely anything. I think he's night and day from a quarterback like Bryce Young. He's more of a physical runner than they have.
You mean Milrow?
Milrow, that's his name. Say Milton.
Milton's the Tennessee quarterback. He looks good, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
The Orange Bowl, that guy looks good.
Yeah, that guy did look good. My bad, Milrow. I'm excited to see what he's actually gonna be though, because when he was committed to us, that was like my guy or a lot of people's guy for as like some kind of X factor QB down the line. But like first off, yeah, just I don't know. I feel like the time to beat him was last year just because we were at home, but I do think the team will be better, and I do think this is probably disrespectful, but I do think going there isn't as daunting as it used to be. A lot of teams have had success there. So I really am looking forward to going over there. That it would probably be a beautiful game.
Matt, you said that a lot of teams had success there recently, and I know what you mean. Like, pretty much everybody's playing Bama close these days. They're not dominant like they used to. But when's the last time they lost in Bryant-Denny Stadium? Was it like 2016 with Kelly? So Texas will be the first team to beat Alabama.
LSU. 2019.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Burrow. Yeah. Okay. Aside from that.
Was there any others? Not off the top of my head.
Not off the top of my head, no.
So I'm thinking Texas ends that streak. It's
in the waters. I feel it.
Bama it's last year was a major red flag, and it's just Bama standard we're talking about here. But you would have thought last year was the year where they bounced back. They had a good roster coming back after not winning the Natty the year before, losing to Georgia. Typically, Saban, turns it around with that type of roster and just goes and dominates the field.
It's kind of a sloppy team, bro.
Yeah, they were very suspect against a lot of teams. Like we almost beat them. A&M almost beat them. A&M was terrible. I mean, they lost at LSU, who's not even that. I mean, LSU was solid, but nothing special. They didn't even win the West, but that with Bryce Young, and it's Saban's really struggled with his coordinator hires recently. I mean,
Yeah.
usually he's nailed. He missed on Bill O'Brien, he missed on Pete Golding, and now he still hasn't found anybody to hire. So that'll be what to watch. I mean, if he ends up landing like Cliff Kingsbury or Joe Brady, then we're doomed, of course. But if he continues to make bad hires like he has as of late, and Ty Simpson, I think will be their quarterback actually, not Jalen Milrow. I think that's what they're trying to do because Milrow
Oh,
looked
yeah.
not ready for that.
They might move Milrow to like running back.
Linebacker or something. Yeah. I think that it's just in the way we get them early in the year. I just feel like this is a game that I mean we have what do we have 17 starters coming back. I feel like it
Yep.
just lines up to be our 2005 Ohio State and Columbus game, where and it all rests on Quinn. That's going to be the theme of the offseason. If Quinn takes that step, matures, becomes the leader that he should be, and improves, I mean, there's no reason that we can't go into Alabama and win there. I mean, Haynes King almost won in Alabama last year against arguably a better roster. I know there was no Bryce Young in that game, but still, like that's a Bama team that was very loaded last year. So I think Texas will show up for that game. I think our fan base will probably occupy at least half that stadium. I mean, it's going to be an electric atmosphere, and I think I hope that's. I mean, that's the thing about Sark. He hasn't won big games here yet, so that's one he has to win if he wants to get this. He doesn't have to win, but that'd be a great way to get his first signature big win here at Texas. So that'll be fun, man. I will drop everything and go into my life savings to be at that game. So I will be there for sure.
Will you?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
My only thoughts that have not been said about this game is if Texas goes on a run here and makes the Big 12 title and wins it, having a win in this game is like the Uno card, for Texas getting into the
Mhm.
playoff because the rest of the schedule, like like we're all hinting at, is on the weaker side compared to what, at least at the moment, is on the weaker side compared to what we've done in the past. And if Texas has a good signature win against Bama in Tuscaloosa, um, even if they slip up in some places or the Big 12 just kind of sucks, that's going to be a huge, thing on the resume to potentially get us somewhere if our team is good enough to be in that contention to get into the playoff. So I will say that that game actually is very important if we're going to have the kind of team that we hope that we do. Wyoming, I mean, that should be an easy W. I feel like we don't really know too much about Wyoming other than Nayers from there.
Nair revenge game.
Josh
Yeah,
Allen.
Josh
Josh
Allen will
Allen.
be there.
Yeah, maybe.
My one comment on Wyoming is we played a home and home with them. We were talking about this before the show back in like '09 and 2010.
Hmm.
Who scheduled that? That's like why were we playing in Wyoming? Like that's hilarious.
That's such a like. Why is Texas taking its pageantry up there, bro? Like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah,
why are we sending troops up there? That's so far away.
Yeah,
yeah.
but I mean that'll be a win hopefully. So 2-1 at worst, 3-0 probably. I'm saying for the non-con.
I like
Mhm.
it.
And then we go into Big 12 play at Baylor. Um,
I feel like playing Baylor this early is kind of weird. Or just
yeah, I
feels
feel like
weird.
they're always a more the end of the year kind of team, especially to open. I can't remember the last time. Have we ever opened against Baylor? I don't think so.
Uh-uh.
Um, but I guess it's kind of good to get that out of the way because even though they had a down year last year, Dave Aranda is still a good coach, I believe at least.
At least,
And
yeah.
Waco is, I think, still kind of a tricky place to play. So I think it's a good initial test. It's not too hard of a challenge, but it will be a challenge nonetheless, in my opinion, um, but a very winnable one.
Yeah, when you play anywhere in Texas on the road, you have to be cautious because it's just the rivalry dynamics, and even if the team you're playing is not that great,
Last time, that's the other thing too. Last time we're going to
yeah,
probably play Baylor along
that's
with
true.
a lot of these teams.
Like ever
And
probably.
rest in peace.
Yeah, and with like Dave Aranda, he's the type of coach that, I mean, his first year went 2-9 or something, and then his second year they were like elite, won the Big 12, went to the Sugar Bowl. They weren't that good last year, but you never know. I mean, they're well coached, so that could be a game that could be like I don't think that's an auto win at all. I think that's one of our tougher games. So hopefully the new Texas shows up and wins that game, like VY and Colt would do, but we need Quinn to be that guy.
Agreed.
And then Kansas at home. That's a big one.
Are we treating them like they are going to continue what they did last year and just be competent?
Well, what they did last year is they won a bunch of games and then they lost
Yeah,
a bunch of
exactly.
games.
We're expecting growth from that is what
They
I'm trying to
just
get at.
they don't have weapons. Jalen Daniels is
Yeah,
special,
they
but
don't,
they
dude.
just don't have weapons.
They have
And
like
and
one tight end that's kind of nice.
yeah, the walk on that beat us.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that
Casey or
was that
whatever
guy.
his name, Jared Casey, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, that's just a team that every now and again I think they can sneak up and win whenever they get hot, but um
yeah. Unfortunately
I'm
for them, they
not
can't bring in. I mean, you can be all rah rah you want, but you ain't got the troops. Yeah,
to me they're kind of I mean it's maybe not the best comparison, but I'm gonna make it anyway. UTSA last season when they had, real good quarterback, mobile guy that can make really good throws. But
hmm.
once you contain him, they don't have the weaponry to even
What you say
remotely
is like
keep
he's
up.
not that good. You know what I mean? Like you make him look like pretty like normal. You know what I mean?
You don't think Jalen Daniels is as good as
No,
what's
that's what
that
I'm saying
quarterback's
is when
name?
you make those
Oh,
quarterbacks show their limitations is what I mean to
yeah,
say. I mean,
yeah.
like they're not like world beaters type players.
Yeah, and
Right.
PK looked. I know it's his first game back against us when he played Kansas this year, but PK shut him down. He looked just totally incompetent against
Mm-hmm.
us, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like their best player. So if we get him in DKR, we should win that game comfortably. We should cover the spread, whatever it is. And if we don't, that's sad. That's just sad.
Yeah, I mean, one way we can know we're going in the wrong direction if sorry, lose is comes 1-2 against Kansas. That's when alarms are
No,
fucking firing off.
no, yeah, no Texas coach could ever survive a losing record against Kansas. That's just unfathomable.
How I die.
That'd be a that'd be a heck of a way to go out.
Well, I mean, it's like a hell of a ride right there, man. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah. Then Oklahoma, big game there, and let let's talk Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Myers or Madrid, feel free to hop in, but I mean
this one
they're a
off, man.
team that came off of a really crappy season, but I will give
Very
my
interesting
props
case.
to the coaching staff for getting some good transfers and actually having a pretty good recruiting class.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma's tricky. I feel like Brent Venables is Charlie Strong 2.0, but he also might not be. That's the thing. If they roll out with Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, and it's not Jackson Arnold is a true freshman, that's a good sign for us because Dylan Gabriel is like Max Duggan light, maybe. Like he's solid, I
He's
guess. I
he's
mean,
solid. He's just a solid QB.
like I feel like PK and Jalen Ford and Gary Patterson will just like lock that boy up really easily. And their defense wasn't anything special against us. I know they were a little bit injured, but that's supposed to be their calling card. And I'm sure they'll be improved. I mean, they had a good recruiting class, they really good recruiting class, but they'll all be freshmen. So I don't know, man. I didn't see enough out of OU to have any like fear in them. I mean, it's just so nice, like I've been saying. Like it's so nice that Lincoln Riley's gone and Brent Venables is here. But I mean, rivalry game, anything can happen. They have talent, they could beat us, but I'm not very worried. Like they're not even like I would say like their fourth or fifth scariest game on the schedule just because it's in a neutral site and we beat them 49-0 last year. And I know they'll try to, rivalry games, anything can happen, but I think Texas will win.
Yeah, I like that as well. I have never thought Dylan Gabriel was anything like super. fantastic. Uh, he's just he's just a solid quarterback that's like won't hurt you as much, but will also is liable for like a 4 interception game, which is nothing we would have seen from like OU in the past, which is kind of insane. But yeah, there are a lot of the momentum got zapped. Um, I think a lot of people underestimated what it's like to lose not only your starting quarterback but your head coach as well. I think there was a little bit too much confidence in that it was just going to be seamless. There's only one, maybe there's only a handful, maybe just one. I don't know. Not a lot of teams that could survive that. And OU is definitely not one of them. Uh, NIL wise, recruiting wise, they're gonna struggle to adapt just a little bit because it was the house that Lincoln built and everything. All the momentum was like with him. That's why players wanted to go. Brent Venables, um, is multiple steps back from that type of momentum that they once had. It'll be exciting though. I I remember when we were doing the OU breakdown, we were talking about how like this could be like one of those times where we make a run on the rivalry a little bit, and I think we're in a prime position to do so. Our starting roster, we can get into recruiting later, but our starting roster is head and shoulders better than theirs, and which is crazy to say because I remember back when we played them in the Big 12 championship, all we would talk about was like their NFL O line, and that just sounds something as crazy good as that just sounds so like ancient talking about this team now. I do want to like well, you guys said give them a little props. They could have had a way worse year last year. I think they kind of kept afloat towards the end of the year better than I thought they were going to do. Granted, they still have an uphill battle there, but props to them for not completely going off the rails. That's why I don't write them off a little bit. They didn't do a full 5-7, but um, yeah, they were able to keep the team together a little bit, somewhat. Although I do think it's funny that they had one of those come to Jesus moments where like if you don't want to be in this program, then like leave now. It's like whenever you have those, man, like yikes, dude, yikes. But yeah, I'm not as scared as I once was going to that game.
Agreed. Um, then Texas goes into a bye.
Much needed. That's so
Yeah.
nice.
How happy are you guys that we leave Red River with a bye?
Yeah, it's so nice because the main reason I want it there is because it's literally halfway down the season. So you get 6 games, a bye, another 6 games, perfectly divided. Like some of these teams get like their byes in week 3 or like week 10 or something like that, where like, I mean, you're playing 10 straight games or something crazy like that.
It's a
I
nice
think,
reset.
and plus, like, let's say we are 5-0 or 6-0 or 5-1 at this point, coming off a win against OU. Like the hype's going to be at an unreal level, and a bye week before you go on the road to Houston, I feel like that's a nice, come to Jesus week where you can, kind of just reset and don't buy the hype and kind of just go back to basics. Because if you go beat OU and you're 6-0 and you go play at Houston the following week, that's a trip mile and a half. So I
Mhm.
like how the bye week set up before an away game that could be a trap game halfway down the year. Perfect setup for a bye week.
Absolutely, I agree. Houston,
Let's call it a home game. Let's call it like it is. That's 2 home games right there. Houston and BYU.
I something about me feels like this game is
No,
gonna be
dude.
close though.
No, bro. They're bad. I promise you.
They
I
weren't
promise
that
you that's
bad
not a
last
healthy.
year.
Dude, they were notorious. I watched so much Houston football because I had their
They
wide
put up a lot
receivers
of
on my camp.
points.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was an ugly team to see. It was an ugly team to see. It was one guy soaking up like 20, I shit you not, like 20 touches on the offense and then blowing leads. And those two guys are gone now. I don't they lost. I forget what it was. Oh my god, what game was it? I think they were playing Tulsa or something, or someone where they blew like a two
Oh,
touchdown lead on off like onside kicks and stuff.
yeah.
It was dude, And then on top of that, Dana Holgerson is just not. I've never liked that guy. He's also just looked sleazy, but him as a coaching, his coaching skills are just non-existent. I'm telling you, I am so ready to play that team. I am so ready to play that team.
You just know that like all the Houston alumni are just going to be so amped.
Oh,
It's just
it's
going to
gonna
be a
be
hornet
hostile.
nest. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
gonna
what
be
I'm worried
hostile.
about.
I mean, don't yeah, it'll be a
Kinda.
scary environment, but like
There'll be a lot of Texas fans there, though. Like I said, I'm just really curious because I don't know if any of us have ever seen Texas play Houston. I know that Southwest Conference rival that used to actually be a heated rivalry.
Mhm.
So it's almost like reincarnating that for 1 year. So I'm curious.
It'll be
Saying
a
Herman's Houston.
Right.
yeah. It'll be a very interesting environment because there's a lot of variables. I mean, we're playing in Houston, which is like a giant hub for Texas alums.
Yeah.
A lot of T-shirt fans in Houston. And also, it's like 2 hours from Austin, and we're playing in their high school stadium. Um, and it's and they're going to sell it out, but also Texas fans are going to buy up a lot of that. So it's going to be like hostile and like electric, but also be a lot of Texas fans. It's going to be an interesting environment. I'm excited to see it. I think it'll be a fun one-off before we go to the SEC, playing them there in their little stadium, and
I still think
hopefully
it's going to be NRG. I do.
it probably will be. Not just it logistically, NRG makes so much more sense. But if they want to have somewhat of a home field advantage, they'll put it in TD, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Either way, it'll be fun to play. But I would like to play in a little high school. I think it'd be fun to play in that little
Oh,
stadium.
yeah. I agree. I'd rather see that.
Yeah.
NRG isn't that fun of a stadium. Then home against Brigham Young University.
Brigham Young.
I don't know. I don't really know much about their team this year.
Jaren Hall went to the NFL, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
The QB, yeah. I
The
think.
QB. Yeah, I think so. I think he is. Because he was in the Senior Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm always happy to play a team that loses the quarterback. So
Yeah. We have a lot of PTSD from BYU. I remember.
yeah, I'm not gonna look past that one.
I remember Myers and I did it was like top 5 Texas games we ever went to. And like at the end of the video, we quickly listed off like top 5 worst games. And for him, his number one was 2013 against BYU in Provo, and then my number one was 2014 against BYU in Austin. So we both came to the conclusion in that video that like that is one team we just never want to see ever again. And sure enough, here they are. But I do think it's interesting that Sark will be playing his former team. I think that'll be a big talking point by the media, and I guess that's a good thing. I feel like a coach with pride would really want to play his former school really hard. So I think we'll be okay. But again, it's just there's so much PTSD there that when I saw that on the schedule, I was just like, oh shit. even though, like I said, I really don't know much about BYU this season. Like I have no idea what to expect, but just seeing the name and is just disturbing.
It's very disturbing.
Yeah, that logo strikes fear in my heart. Even though it shouldn't, they're not
at all.
beater anymore. I mean, they were really good the last couple of years, but last year they were not very good. And the fact that we get them at home, although they do travel very well. They do travel very well.
They do.
Because they're like a worldwide brand.
Surprising.
Because they're more.
I remember 2014 in Austin. I was like, wow.
I think it'll be fun to have them in DK, or as long as we win the game. Which I mean,
yeah, I think it'll be
they're classy fans. I mean, they don't drink, so
it's a bigger program than most teams we play. Like it's probably our best home game. I mean, them or Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of brand size we're playing, it's a really bad home slate, as y'all can tell.
Yeah, it's actually atrocious.
Yeah, we should.
We can win all these games, but yeah, I'm excited to see BYU come to Austin. hopefully beat them and then never play them ever again. Just like goodbye.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Let's end it on a high note. That's what it has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to
Sark
beat them
had
so
had the
bad.
little narrative of like Sark playing there will be a nice little lead up to that. See a bunch of Sark highlights, stuff like that.
So next up, we play Kansas State. No more Deuce Vaughn, so that's big. Looks like Will Howard, though, will be returning, and he actually wasn't too bad of a quarterback himself. Kind of took over the job towards the end of the year. What do we think about Kansas State? They're kind of a weird team. I mean, they won the Big 12 championship last season, so we can't discount them too much, but they are losing some talented individuals. I just don't know where to go with them.
Yeah. I'm like you, Trevor. I don't know what to think about them because Kleiman's been there for a while, and like even last year they won the Big 12, but like I didn't think they were that good. I mean,
No.
they were kind of explosive on offense a little bit, which is unusual for them with whether Adrian Martinez was healthy and running like crazy or Deuce Vaughn or Malik Knowles, I want to say. They had a solid offense last year, which is kind of what set them apart. Their defense is always good, not great. So I don't know, man. The fact that we get them at home makes me not too worried, but I do think Will Howard's real good. He's the real deal. And I could see him giving us problems. So I don't think this is an auto win. Probably our toughest home game, honestly, will be Kansas State. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll learn pretty early in the year what Kansas State is, but it's kind of the weirdest thing how they were the Big 12 champions last year, but like no one even remembers that because
No one's gonna remember that.
yeah.
No one's gonna remember that.
And then they went and got destroyed by Bama in the Sugar Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
that was just and then we almost blew them out. Like we had them blown. We were up by like 30. And then of course we just like poop our pants in the second half and nearly lose. But we won in Manhattan. So I think we'll win in Austin. I mean, I hope.
Yeah, we've beaten them how many years in a row? Like 5?
Six at least. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the only Big 12 team that just cannot
That
like
we
it's
own.
like, hey, don't you shut your mouth, bro. In our worst year, we still beat you. So you know what? You can't speak on us. Yeah. I think that was a good point. We'll find out pretty early on what they'll be. I feel like last year is like the peak of what they can be, personally. Will Howard is a good quarterback, but other than that they play at a level that's likely how they peaked last year. Klein is a weird coach, and in the sense that like not even like from sentiment I find from Kansas State fans, he's more of just like a body out there. To some of them, to the ones I hate him the most. And most see him as like 8-4 coach. I don't know. They're a mystery to me. They're always liable for the scary Saturday night scaries. But if we can handle them for 6 years, and especially in Manhattan, I feel like throughout the years we've still been like, oh, man, Manhattan's crazy. But like I think we forget that we've been on a streak of just killing them. So I don't know. I'm not gonna etch that one as a dub immediately, but it'll be an easy one to look past trying to get to TCU.
Absolutely. So that's probably the game on the schedule for me that I am most curious about.
It also comes in a critical time during the season where it's like, don't look past that one if you're really good. If you're looking good at that point, because I don't get you.
Yeah, and I'm like, part of me is like, I wonder if that's like a ranked matchup in DKR, but I don't know. I don't know. Same with these next two teams, and we'll kind of clump them together because these are both road games and both in potentially dangerous places to play at TCU and at Iowa State. Let's start with TCU.
And what are they
They
gonna be, man?
they
Holy
had a magical year last year, and then man,
holy.
oh man, did they get exposed in the national championship. That was honestly, I've been talking to people about this, and I'm like, if you were
Yeah, you've been
given,
around fans.
if you if you were like in the Matrix and you were given, the two different pills, and it's like either have a magical year and make it to the national championship, and you're gonna get just absolutely smacked, or you have a decent year and make it to the Big 12 title and still lose. What would you take? I don't know, but it's kind of an interesting thought because the level that they got killed, I
It
think
wasn't
almost
even
did
like
more
a hey man,
damage.
you guys played great. You guys
Yeah,
gave it your all. Dude, that shit was over by like the first quarter or like the second quarter.
yeah.
Um
It was so
yeah.
bad that it makes me wonder if it was even worth the trip.
I mean now we're gonna know what Dykes really is though.
That's true. That's
Like
true. No more Max Duggan. They
no
lose a lot of
more
players on defense.
they lose like the whole squad. They're
Yeah.
all seniors.
Right, right.
Which I don't like. That was like the main knock on him. I do think he's a good coach, but like
No more
that's
Quentin
a
Johnston.
pretty, yeah, it's a pretty nice gift to be handed in your first year. Such a veteran team like that, so
Mhm.
it'll be interesting. I
And
wonder if it'll be LSU type levels of fall off.
it could be.
Maybe.
I
I
think the
mean,
thing,
LSU won, right?
yeah, but I mean, I think the thing about TCU last year was they had so much luck with injuries. Like it was kind of weird how every quarterback they played just miraculously got hurt and they played the backup. Um, and they lose Max Duggan, the quarterback. I guess Chandler Morris next year, or they might get a transfer in there. I'm not too sure, but they have talent. I mean, Jordan Hudson, Cordell Russell coming in, JoJo Earl transferring there, Trey Sanders running back. So they have 4 stars, 5 stars all over that offense. Um, but I I don't know. I mean, it's hard to talk trash about TCU. They've owned us since they joined the Big
No,
12.
yeah.
Dude, but Texas Christian, are you kidding me? In a little high school stadium too. We're playing there, so I just for like my sanity, I would love to win in Fort Worth and never play them ever again. Like all these games, like this is the goodbye tour. Uh,
Yes.
knowing Texas, I think we'll probably tuck our tail against TCU. We'll see the little hypno toad and tuck our tail, and find a way to possibly lose this game. This will just make me. I really am so tired of losing to TCU, Texas Christian. So hopefully I mean, we have the better team this year on paper by far. So hope we have the experience they had last year. Now we have it. So hopefully we go beat their booty in Fort Worth.
Gary Beckett back in his own stomping grounds on the other side of the sideline. That's gonna be a sight.
Yeah,
I'll make it extra hostile, I bet. That combined with last time Texas is there.
yeah. It's gonna be electric. Probably a night game or a big noon, one of the two. So hopefully big noon. But I don't know. We need to win
Oh,
that
that'd
game.
be nice.
Have we won there? We won there like in 2000, like the first year we went there, maybe. Yeah. Oh, we won
Two
no,
seasons.
last year. I'm silly. I'm okay. All right. But either way, I have, you know, PTSD of TCU. So hopefully we get it done this season.
And then Iowa State. They're gonna be without is Montgomery? No, wait.
What are you talking about?
Brees
The,
Hall's been
no, their
Hutchinson,
receiver.
McDonald, Hutchinson.
Hutchinson.
Hutchinson. Montgomery. What the hell is Montgomery? Anyway,
That's the
yeah.
old running
Is
back.
Hutchinson. Hutchinson's still there.
That guy was good. No, he's gone, which is surprising. So I saw a mock draft and he was like not even in the first couple of rounds. I was like, geez, that guy's the real deal. I'm surprised. But I mean, the fact that we go there in November at night, it's going to be a blackout. I'm sure it's going to be snowing maybe.
Oh, a blackout.
Even if they're trash, I feel like this is just danger zone 2000. So I
I
don't
don't like
know.
playing up there.
Their QB last year, I don't even know his name. He's nothing, but he like kind of looked really good against us. So uh, I'm definitely concerned about this game. Probably one of the scarier. Honestly, at Iowa State might be more scary than at TCU, just because it's like the second time in the year where we go out of state. We only go out of state twice,
Yeah.
and just going to Ames. Just Iowa State hates us. They'll be so fired up. It's a very scary game. I think we could do
Five-star culture. Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, and Matt Campbell spares no niceties with us, spares no punches.
He was
That
so
always
mad
this is
last year.
huh?
He was so mad at the end of
Oh, he
last
was so
game.
mad.
Oh
He was
gosh.
so mad. You could tell this guy's only job is try to beat us, which respect. I think a nice blackout versus our white uniforms would be nice to see. But yeah, it's scary. It's Ames in November. Ah, I mean, think about the game this year. That game was insane. That game came down
Yeah.
to a fumble fumble recovery replay. And we no, that came that like where we literally murdered their QB. Like that's what it took. Um, took Jaron Thompson murdering him to win. So I don't know. That actually, man, I'm actually having strong feelings of a loss, like already.
Hmm.
Just
Wow.
because I'm thinking about the game this year and it
Yeah, just
literally we got
how
so
pissed.
lucky.
Yeah, how pissed off they would
Xavier
be.
Hutchinson dropped it,
Yeah.
that pass, and then
Right.
there was no reason for him to drop that. Wow. That was like it was a blown coverage and everything. That was so
Yeah.
bad. And now they have us in Ames. Oh my god. That's an L brewing if I've ever seen one. If we're teetering by then, and we play. Oh, yeah, I'm good off that game. I'll close my eyes the whole time.
Dude, I think it's more likely that we lose in Ames than we do in Tuscaloosa, honestly. Like,
Yeah, dude, I'm feeling those
No.
vibes too. I am so
Are
much
you
more
kidding
confident
me?
going to Tuscaloosa.
Oh
I
man.
mean, I'm not saying that I'm not even saying that like I'm 100% confident, but like it's more like yeah, no, I'm not going up there. I'm not going. You can't make me.
I'm not gonna watch the game. That's too stressful.
Yeah,
Oh, oh man. I'm curious what Iowa State is at that point though.
that's
Like,
true.
are they
Doesn't
maybe?
matter.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It doesn't matter because they weren't even that good this year when we played them.
Right? No, it doesn't. It's the last time they'll play
They'll be
us. So.
scrappy enough to beat us with a home field
Yeah.
advantage. Like it's just we're going into a death trap basically.
Yeah.
So if we win that,
Great point.
shout out to Shark, but I'm not expecting it. 11-1. I just changed from 12-0 to 11-1.
Yeah, that's an L
With
for
a
me.
loss to Iowa State. My
Plus,
goodness.
like we're so close to the Big 12 title game and the
Yeah.
playoff. Like we can
Let off the brakes.
we can lose to Iowa State and then beat Tech and win the Big 12. We're still in the playoff. So it's going to be a look ahead. We're going to lose in Ames. Might get blown out, honestly.
Okay, guys. We're not.
Dude,
We
we
don't
actually
even
might end the
know.
program if we lose.
Bo Davis, part 2.
No, maybe our team will want revenge from that year.
That's
Sure.
true.
That was such an embarrassing game.
How many of them are even on the team still? I don't know.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
transferred out.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, how many of them remember that?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
I mean, there were people on the team, but
there was a few. There was a few.
there were a good number. Okay, and then we end the year against Tech. Last time ever. 'Cause
Good
we didn't
riddance, dude.
We didn't renew that
Jesus.
rivalry. We lost to
Good.
them
I
last
don't want
year.
to know, man. Let them. I don't
I
want to play
think
those
I
guys
think this
anymore.
game is going to be. I mean, you guys said bloodbath for Iowa State. I think Tech is going to be just like they're going to do everything in their power to mess everything up, especially if we have like a shot at the Big 12 title.
Yeah,
Or
they're
even if
gonna
we
be-
like get into the title game, like not calling Tech dirty or anything, but like if there are any dirty players on Texas Tech, like they're going to be sliding for ankles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just how much they hate Texas, and the fact that this is the last time in Austin. I feel like the Tech fans are going to travel well, and I'm more scared about that game maybe than Iowa State. This schedule ends on a tricky
gonna say,
note.
this
I
schedule
know
could be-
I know that they're not great teams because they're not. None of these are good
No,
teams.
they're not.
They're all very beatable, but there's just so much hate bundled into these last 3 games.
I'm feeling I'm feeling like
Uncomfortable.
there's a realm of possibility that's strong that it could be a back like just we just end on two losses. Just go Iowa State, Texas Tech loss. Like
Hmm.
that's in there. That's
Yeah.
in the cards. That's how scary those last two games are, just because of the bad blood.
Yeah, Texas Tech. This sounds pompous, and I'm kind of saying this facetiously, and Texas fans are known to be pompous. Um,
Mhm.
but I was kind of playing the stereotype here. I don't want to be associated with Texas Tech anymore. I don't want to play them in sports anymore. They're very, very
Yo,
trashy.
I'm with you,
Um,
man.
and they're like, and partially, I mean, there's some good guys that go to Tech, but
No, I
I,
know some fine gentlemen.
but I think this should be our last dance with Texas Tech for a long, long time. Like of all the Big 12 teams I don't want to play ever again, Texas Tech's probably first in the list, at least for a while. Let them mature a little bit before we play them again.
Mhm.
But they were good. They were pretty good last year. They beat us on that miraculous comeback where we blew it. They've improved. They blew out Ole Miss. McGuire's building a nice little program in year
Yeah.
one.
They're a
Yeah.
good team.
He's talking a lot of trash. Remember what he said after he beat us? Again, that was something. So hopefully the players remember that. They'll lose 9 of 11 starters, Texas Tech on defense, and
That's
that was
good to
Mhm.
why
hear.
they were so good was Tyree Wilson, and they had a really just experienced defense.
He's a top 5 pick, dude.
If Baron Morton could be good, he looked pretty good in times, but he's banged up like crazy, so it's hard to tell. But if it's Chuck or whoever, um, I mean, I'm not scared of that offense too much, but it's a game. It's a game. That's what against a rival that clearly hates us more than we hate them. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of equal now. I hate them. They've been really annoying
No,
recently.
it it's strictly because of the last few years that we played them, or not even, let alone
No,
just last year
they've
too.
always hated Texas.
No, 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 no. They have always hated Texas, but like like people's like attention of like I don't like that guy. Is like stems like recently from us, because it's
Yeah,
like
'cause
I'm
it's
tired.
cool.
I'm tired of the nipping at the ankles. Like please stop. It's that little dog that's just like thinks they're so big, and then they're just nipping at your ankles, and you're like, please get away. Like please go outside or something.
Yeah,
Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude, you know what? It's the epitome of like our Super Bowl. Or like their Super Bowl. Because a lot of these teams, a lot of these other teams, they had shots at like something greater than just beating us, you know? They like the race got a little tight towards the end for the Big 12 championship. Like everyone was still playing for something. Their season ends. They're lucky actually that we play them at the last game, because they have to build up to us. You know what I mean? Because if we played them in like we did last year in like week, what was it, like week 4 or
Or
whatever,
yeah.
uh they'll turn off. They'll turn off after for the rest of the season. I'm serious. I'm
You're kind of
serious. Like
right.
they stop caring about football after they play us. Like really do. And it's just the epitome of like, damn guys, like do y'all have anything else that is going for you other than this game? I Good riddance. I'm tired. I'm ready to play other people.
I'm done. I'm never going to West Texas ever again.
Yes.
That's what's so exciting about going to the SEC is in that pond, all the fish are the same size. There's a bunch of giant target brands like Alabama, LSU, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. Like that's all we're playing. I mean, we'll still be circled on the schedule, but
Yeah.
in the Big 12, like, and this is just, I mean, just look at the reaction to the schedules. All the teams that were semi, they didn't get to play Texas or OU. Like, the reality is they circle us, they circle OU, more Texas, though, morely Texas because we're very hated. Um, and it makes it difficult for a team that isn't great to, survive all these
Yeah.
trip against teams that are foaming at the mouth to play us.
Yeah.
That's why
Hmm.
I have to be a really good team, experienced team with good quarterback play to survive all these, teams foaming at the mouth to play Texas, especially now with the last year of the Big 12. It's going to be like at a all-time high. So Texas Tech is like the perfect example of that. But the fact that we get them in Austin is very it's a good sign because if it were going to Lubbock, I'd be feeling terrible about this game.
I like I like what you mentioned there. Like when you're the big fish, like the pressure, like that's a real thing. Like different games have different pressures. Like when we play Alabama, like we kind of know the pressure isn't on us. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be on Bama. Every other game we play, it's on us. And look, the best teams overcome that, but we're not the best teams. We were young teams in the past, and we fell into that routinely because we were the main draw. When we get to the SEC, it's not going to be like that week to week. We'll play someone of equal like brand power to where it's like, oh, okay, like we're not necessarily like building up to like they're not building up to come play us. They've already built up to play like Bama and LSU already, or name any other mid-level team in the SEC brand wise. That's a real thing, and especially with compounded with the media and everything. Like these college kids, they're aware of that, and it's real nice not to have a lot of those games anymore.
Yeah.
It's an excellent point. Well, that does the schedule. Let's kind of have wrap up thoughts in regards to the schedule. Overall, what are we kind of thinking record wise? And is this a Big 12 championship or bust kind of year?
It is
Yes.
1,000%. Last year we were all very tempered with our expectations. I said 8-4. I think Matt said 8-4. I think Trevor said 9-3. We were realistic. This year, I mean, I put a tweet out on Texas Platinum the other day of our depth chart for next season. It's experienced. It's loaded. It's got a quarterback. It's got an NFL O line almost. Great receivers. A really good defense with alphas. You know, Jalen Ford, Jahdae Barron, Ryan Watts, Jalen Catalon. You throw in A.D. Mitchell. You still got Tavondre Sweat on the line with Murphy and Sorrell, Alfred Collins. You throw in Anthony Hill to pair with Jalen Ford. Um, Jaron Thompson looked really good at safety last year. He grew up. He's going to be a veteran leader for us. And then on offense, I mean, like I already said, A.D. Mitchell's here now. Xavier Worthy. You bring in Isaiah Nayor back. I mean, and I got slack for not talking about Nayor. This team, on paper, I mean, you got Kelvin Banks, your NFL franchise left tackle, Devin Campbell, Cole Hudson. This team is the team. I'm saying it. It all rests on Quinn Ewers and Sark to be able to be a game day coach, because there's going to be games where we have to be well coached in games like at Bama to win those. And Sark has to prove he can win big games like that. But Sark has built the perfect roster to go win a Big 12 title and go get into the playoff and see what happens from there. Like, there's no doubt about it. This is the year. It's got to be 12-0, 11-1, 10-2 at the absolute worst. This is the year. I'm confident. Off-season Kool-Aid is I'm gulping it this year. Like it's
We're
time.
stirring that bitch right now. Absolutely. Um, oh, I'm sorry, Matt. Did you finish?
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay. So we've been doing this long enough to where I kind of remember like instances in the past where we're like, well, this roster is like I've never seen a roster this good in my lifetime. But we've had rosters in the past where like, wow, like these guys are older. They've played a lot of games. But I always think some of those rosters, I think Herman had one, Herman had two, Strong maybe one. But a lot of those rosters were like, if so and so does like, if so and so takes a step as a senior,
Yeah.
like we're good. But we had a lot of those types, a lot of those types where we haven't seen it. Here with this roster, a lot of this roster we've seen it. We know Jalen Ford's good. We know Jahdae Barron is good. We know Watts is good. Terrence Brooks is showing up. We know Catalano's good. Jaron Thompson, not my favorite, but he's good. Tavondre Sweat, good. We know he's good. Sorrell had his moments. Murphy had his moments. Collins had his moments. Finkley, even a little bit of the little bit of playtime he had, we saw how much of a beast he could be. We know Xavier's good. We know Jay Wood's good. We know Jatavian's. We know everyone is good. We know we've seen it. That's a big deal. Like I that's what really gets me like, and especially with the people we brought in like AD Mitchell. Those are these are players that can really make some noise right now. And of all those, the majority of those players also got better from last year, from the year before that, under this coaching staff. I don't think people are talking about that enough. because people are apprehensive to be like, oh, it's because I still see the narrative floating around there, like, oh, Texas can't develop, and you know what, we deserve it. I get it, but that is changing. That is absolutely changing. Those players all got better, and to think they won't get better again as juniors and seniors, like nah, like that team's gonna be good. I'm really excited to see this. I remember when we got this staff, I was like, I was the highest on it just because of their history and their history of developing players. We didn't see it for the first year, unfortunately, and they got a lot of question marks. But I think last year they really put to bed them the idea that these players can't get better. A lot of these players are going to be playing on Sunday, like absolutely. I'm not saying day one, day two picks, few of them, but a lot of them will be on rosters. Or I guarantee it. And that's where this mentality of like Big 12 championship or bust. Like real like you don't you have no choice but to compete like that. Look, it's on Quinn to take a step, right? My hope for Quinn, I'm still a Quinn believer. There's a lot of people out there that are not. For some reason you have to be Quinn or Arch. You can't like both, which is kind of weird. Um, but look, every quarterback that's been with Sark for a year or have had a good offseason with them has gotten better. Casey led the league in touchdowns. Hudson Card, for as much as we thought he was limited, played very well when he needed to this year and better than last year. He was a better player, and rightfully so. He got a job at Purdue because of it. That doesn't happen if he doesn't grow under Sark. Like that's a real thing. Um, so I think a good offseason and him not being a teenager anymore will help us really push it. And think about how we don't even need, look, we want Quinn to be great, right? He doesn't even need to be like amazing. He really doesn't. He just needs to be better than last year. And we win a lot of those games because the offense just moves more. Um, and I think guys like and having getting a especially getting a guy like Eddie Mitchell who's shown throughout the playoff how good he is in like contested catches and just adjusting to balls. Like that is a recipe for a good season. Um, I'm really, I really want to say, early on. Look. This is just we're in last day of January in 2023. Season's 6 months, 7 months away, 8 months away. That on paper should be a 10-2 minimum season right there. That is just a roster we haven't seen with proven talent in so long, and that's what has got me so excited. In combination with a schedule that favors us heavily, combination with OU being down still, and a lot of other Big 12 teams retooling. I like what we're cooking here. So yeah, Big 12 will bust. Like really, like it will be disappointing if for me if we at least don't make it there. Like that's an indictment.
Yeah, I kind of agree with those sentiments. I mean, year three, I feel like is a big year for a lot of coaches. That's kind of when you expect the most results to come. You look back at, Charlie Strong, year three is kind of when, it started to look good with that first game out of the gate, and then it kind of fell apart. And then we knew, especially after the Kansas loss, that it was time to move on. Tom Herman with year three, kind of a similar thing. I know that he got 4 years, right? 4 years.
Yeah, you got four.
But even year three was kind of like ooh, after the previous year making it to the Big 12 title, and year three it looked kind of nasty.
Yeah.
So with Sark, it's really kind of a similar thing. This is time to show that last season we took that next step. We leveled up back to a decent level. And now it's time to take that other step. And you have the schedule and the runway to do that. And it's something that needs to happen, especially going into the SEC next year. You got to have that hype and that excitement and that building block before you get into a league that's we're never going to get a schedule this easy again. How about that? This is the biggest gift that Sark could ever ask for, is a schedule that favors us really in every way possible. Um, outside of, I guess, a road game against Alabama, that's maybe the only inconvenience, but even then, they knew that that was coming. You really couldn't ask for anything more. And with the roster that you have, with the schedule that you have, um, I believe that, yeah, I mean, it's so hard to be like, yeah, 10-2, 11-1. Yeah, it's going to happen because we just haven't seen it. It's been so long that myself predicting that just feels wrong because,
It
as much
feels
as
like
I
you
want
like you're
to,
lying. Yeah,
yeah, you are.
but like it lines up. Like the facts like are there.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel, you feel dumb saying it. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that a lot of Texas fans, they say that every year, and good for you guys for, for being so
Thanks for making
optimistic.
everyone smile. Like really,
Right, right.
appreciate it.
We struggle with that. I mean, at least I'm sure the three of us, we really don't, predict that too often. Maybe you guys were the most high on Texas the year after they won the Sugar Bowl because it looked like it was going in the right direction. They didn't take that next step in year three. So this is tremendously huge, and we've been gifted, a schedule that is going to help ease that process of making that next step. And it's something that's needed. And yeah, comes back to Quinn. I'm sure we'll have like his own video, at some point because he's really so much of a focal point of this team and the operator and allowing all this talent to work out and flow and make sense. And um, there's a lot of good stuff that we saw last season, a lot of improvement, but on both Quinn and Sark, there was a lot of stuff that we saw that was not good and can be corrected next
Mhm.
season and needs to be corrected in order to make this big move in the season to come into the SEC and hopefully usher in, a new Texas, a new everything, allow for that Arch Manning handoff to go seamlessly into the new league. And it's a massive year. And we're going to be talking about it leading up to the season and obviously into the season too. So can't understate it.
We won the first year of the Big 12. We'll win the last one. Fingers crossed. If not now, literally when? Like it has to happen
Yeah.
eventually, right? Like it has to happen now. Like if not now, when? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Regardless of like winning, I just strictly from a coaching recruiting standpoint, it is very refreshing to have a good coach that is good at recruiting and even a staff. We are in on every name, like every single name, every single transfer, we're in on, and it's paying dividends. It's we should have known Sark's intentions when we got Ryan Watts. I remember getting Ryan Watts and being like, that guy was a real player. Like that guy was good at Ohio State. He just got buried by better guys. So I'm really excited about people he brings in, people he recruits. Um, in the past, we wouldn't even maybe we wouldn't even compete against the big names for certain people, for certain recruits, and I think that was a mistake. We would always take the leftovers and just focus on a few of the big names that we want. But this year and for the foreseeable future, we are in on every name, and that's what you have to do to be to survive in this new college football world. So I think we understand that more so than a lot of other programs. So it's refreshing.
Absolutely. Um, guys, any final thoughts or feel like we touched on a bunch. Big 12 championship. I guess other teams that we feel like could get there to the Big 12 title. It's kind of hard to
Exactly.
tell. I feel like this year there isn't really a clear favorite for the Big
Yeah,
12.
that's why it's just like it's now. Like there's no one else. I mean, I'm sure there'll be good Big 12 teams, but like it's so there's nobody. I mean, maybe Kansas comes up, TCU maybe, Oklahoma has talent, but Texas is the favorite. Texas is the team. Like, go do it, please. I'm begging you.
Yeah, I agree.
214 days till kickoff. We're getting there. Start the
That doesn't
countdown.
seem too long, actually. That
No.
doesn't seem too long at all. We can do
It
that.
doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I like this time of the year because it's like you're kind of done. You're good with the break right now. Like you're in a good spot. You're like this break is necessary. It's once you get to the
Yeah.
summertime where you really start itching for some
Once we
football.
get like practice reports and hype videos,
Mhm.
that's when my blood pressure raises.
Right, right. So cool. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you made it all the way through, hopefully we'll continue to be, putting out videos every now and again. Like I said, it's off season, so we probably will slow down a little bit, but every now and again we'll still have those good videos that hopefully you enjoy. And if you're new here and you subscribe, you'll be seeing those videos in your feed. So make sure you do that. Anything else, guys?
Stay warm, Texas.
Stay safe.
Stay warm,
That
stay
too.
safe. That sounds good. Horns up. Y'all take care. See you in the next video.